Fork! 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 Fork!
Hey guys, Mr. Reed here, and today we'll be taking a look at, not Fork, but the Darktide Skitarii gameplay reveal. Not much reveal, but we're going to glean what we can from it. I also appreciate that Fat Shark tells us that this trailer is, like, come check out this PC Games whatever thing at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We thought that would be the start of the show. They showed this trailer 7 minutes before the show launched. As like a start of the thing, and they also had a little bit of an interview with the game director afterwards. There wasn't really anything to glean in there other than them saying that yeah, they would continue supporting Darktide. Surprising no one, I suppose. They couldn't talk about the next project that they're working on, even though we all know they're working on the next project. It's whatever. Let's go over what we got here today, and we'll see if we can glean anything. There are a couple of weapons shown here, so let's rock and roll. So, I mean, that's it. It's not the full gameplay demonstration that I was expecting to get. I think that will probably release closer to the class release if it's anything like our BDs from last year, where we had, you know, like a couple of players going as a squad through the environment. So yeah, that's not showing that, but it does showcase a few weapons. So let's go into the frame by frame mode and showcase what we saw here. I believe that this intro part here, and I'll mute her, I'll make it really low volume. I believe that this intro part here is probably showcasing how the class will be assembled. I think this looks like it's part of that sanctum that Hadron has access to, where she can actually like put together the Skitarii Alpha Primus. So this probably is like part of the character creation process, and here's us stepping out of that chamber into the Great Wastelands. And here they are in the Wastelands. So first up on the roster, we have the arc rifle, looking sick, looking very cool. Now I tend to believe, first of all, good joke, Fat Shark, that we're actually going to play this in Expeditions. But I tend to believe that what they're showcasing here, of the weapon firing one shot at a time, like that to me does not look like the full potential of this rifle. You know what I mean? Like, this cannot be the only thing that this thing can do, that it can just go, bah. How is that any different than any other gun we have in the game then, right? I still am firmly believing that this weapon has the ability to be charged and unleash a bigger zap that arcs between more targets or something like that. Because what I'm seeing here is just a little tap, tap, tap. That does not, if I were designing this weapon, that is not a very satisfying feedback, and that doesn't, also, it just doesn't distinguish this from other weapons in the game, which is another thing you really have to be playing around here. So I think that this weapon still is going to be able to be charged. I think this shit is going to light up when you're like charging it, and it's going to blast out. Now, next up, they showed the galvanic rifle here. That's a nice little shot of it, honestly. I should like screenshot that or something. But yeah, the galvanic rifle, listen. We got everyone was wanting it, but here we gotta listen. It's not quite the, like, trademark Garand ping, but it's a pretty good little ping there when we rack the rifle. And they certainly showed that for a reason, of course. So we got that. And the music, you know, first of all, good, cool music. He's really doing, you know, he's doing his best in this one. Jesper is producing some quality work. I like how alien. I like how, you know, technologically foreign the music feels. It's not the normal like chorus and stuff. It's got that techno synth beat in there, but it's a little bit overpowering here. We can't actually hear what the weapon itself, the reports sound like. There's some sort of energy impact. It's energy bullets. Looks like it kind of explodes their heads, so that could just be from shooting them in the head. Who knows? Again, another weapon where I think we can't see the full potential of it, because first of all, most likely the weapons they're demonstrating here are gray weapons with no blessings, no perks, and they're not showcasing any talents or anything that go with them. So they're probably like like specifically not showcasing the like special stuff these things can do, to not spoil it. And then we have the Arc Maul here. So the Arc Maul, we do get to see a little bit of what it can do. So it's got a couple hits here where the first 2 hits, you notice that the first 2 hits, big explosion, right? And then after that, we don't have any explosions. So this weapon, if it's indeed what I think it might be, this weapon either has a battery where it can, like, it's wearing down over time, we just caught it at the very tail end, or it's functioning kind of in the way that the Power Sword does, where when you activate it, you get a certain amount of charged hits before it defaults to regular hits. Now again, yeah, it looks like it's doing almost nothing to these random jobbers once it's unempowered, but it's very likely the minimum power level white weapon that has no blessings or anything on it, so we're ending up with that as the demonstration. You know, it's not overall. I'm gonna screenshot this right now. You know what's going in the thumbnail. It looks cool as fuck. So yeah, it's not exactly like what I would have wanted for a gameplay demonstration, but it at least gives us an idea of like what sort of these weapons look like. The Arc Maul is probably the one we get the most information about there, and what I'm very curious to see, because there's been some other information that I'll tie in here. What I'm very curious to see more about is some of the stuff that they have posted on their page over here. Your boy Mr. E called it. We do in fact have a Cord Claw coming to the game, and it is an ability. So this was literally something I said verbatim. You know, whenever I last talked about this, I said when they were talking about the transonic like blades, like transonic weapons. Here it is. Like this is what they're talking about. These are the 3 ultimates as I perceive it in the store page. A ruthless long-range assassin with deadly aim. This is our ranger archetype. A frenzied servant on the side, carving through flesh with a transonic blade, right? This is not capitalized, and it's not the razor or the sword, it's a blade. So it made me think that they were hiding the fact that you could in fact use the Cord Claw, a 3rd type of transonic blade. And then the last one here, Walking Storm Light, Living Electricity, we'll talk about in a second. So in fact, yes, indeed, I was miraculously right. I mean, it just made sense. And then the fact that it wasn't as one of the deluxe weapons made me think that the only way this would be included is as a Grail Knight style ability. And there you go. It is, in fact, an ability. So this weapon will be able to be wielded as part of an ability, and it will presumably do a slash on enemies that does a lot of fucking damage. And also, based on some data mines that a friend has produced for us, we'll talk about in a second, we know kind of how this ability will work. It will have resets. You will chain combos with it. So you're going to be running from enemy to enemy, cutting them apart, resetting, probably on killing elites or something, and just zipping all over the map. So that is super, super cool. And I could not have known that part without some help from Yobi here, or Yobi. I'll just call him Yobi for forever. Yeah, so he has been really, really good at data mining this stuff. I think this was a friend who data mined this and put it on his Discord. So yeah, I'm actually got a collab with him coming up. So we're gonna be chatting and talking about what we think is actually coming to the class. He talks about it a lot in this video, so you can go and watch his video, how he thinks that power generation and capacitance and all that stuff is going to work for the character, how he thinks these different abilities will interact, what exactly the abilities are, and then we're going to be going kind of head-to-head on that, talking about that in a video or collab coming up. So keep an eye out for that, and definitely go subscribe to him, guys, because this is like the 4th time that I have just completely ripped off of his hard work. But I want to talk about what he was able to glean here, and I'll leave you guys to go watch his video and see what he thinks about some of these different interactions. But we have to talk about the sort of these penances that have been gleaned from this. There's a lot of information in these penances. First of all, what I was talking about there with the Cord Claw's kills combo, right? So we know that Cord Claw can combo and get more kills. So that's really, really cool. We also know about our keystones, thanks to something down here saying when using Overload Keystone, when using Power Generation Keystone, and when using Dissector Keystone. So to me, the Dissector Keystone seems like it probably goes pretty closely with the Cord Claw, right? But remember, keystones, although they are generally linked to whatever ability that they're supposed to generally be used with, the best classes in the game, the ones that are most thought out, not Hive Scum, have keystones that can be used with a variety of different abilities, right? They synergize with different abilities in different ways. So, for instance, on the veteran, you can use shout with any of the keystones. You can use the sniping ability with the reloading keystone or with the focus target keystone, right? It doesn't really matter. So I'm thinking here that yes, we do of course have a relationship between Dissector and Chord Claw. I think these are probably the ones that are in the close proximity on the talent tree, but you can probably use Dissector with anything. And same with power generation, which seems very open-ended. You can see down here, let's talk about this power generation keystone. We have another penance for restoring ability charges using power generation. So that to me says that this keystone is in some way capable of restoring some of our ability charges. And that is probably a keystone where you're gonna like claim kills in order to build up some sort of thing. I don't know, whatever it is, right? But yeah, this is our cooldown producing keystone, which is cool. And that is probably going to be around the area of the tree where that ranger archetype is. I only say that because the last keystone is called Overload. And so Overload right here, the Overload keystone, this to me seems to probably have something to do with that last description that I just showed on the Steam store page, a walking storm of living electricity. So when I look at that, I'm like, Overload, it's something to do with electricity, right? So this is our electric archetype keystone, and it probably has to do with that zappy sort of thing going on around it. And this is probably enemies electrocuted, all that stuff, right? So that is what we can glean from that. We'll discuss this more. I'll talk about it more with Yobi, so you'll get my full thoughts on what that actually is going to be. We'll both put our chips down on the table. And full disclosure, guys, he is not in the creator program. And I know people like to joke like, oh, Mr. E, he's in early access. He's in the creator club. Like he's already seen all this and he's just basically repeating exactly what it is. And somehow they let him get away with it. Well, first of all, they would definitely not let me get away with going out and just like saying, I think it might be this thing that it exactly is. So I've talked about this before, but either I don't know and I'm right, or like I'm kicked out of the club, right? I'm just not allowed. Like I would just be breaking NDA if I was coming out here and talking about exactly what it is, which is the reason you don't see Reginald, who is a playtester, coming out and making, oh, gee, I wonder what the class is going to be able to do, because he knows what the class is going to be able to do, right? It's not appropriate for him to be doing that. So when Yobi and I talk, he is not in the creator club, and I am, but neither one of us have seen this class because due to some staffing issues over at Fat Shark right now, the creator club is sans a leader, and therefore there might not even be early access for anybody outside of the playtesting community this time around. So TBD on that. I'll let you guys know if and when I'm going to have early access, and I'll be able to share it with you. Hopefully I will, but just keep an eye on the channel. So that'll be a good discussion, hopefully, where we can both put down our bets, and then we'll wager, probably like $1,000 or something, just some change, some pocket change for a good cause. Okay, then from there we can actually get a little bit more information. So this is information about our keystones, right? We already kind of know two of our abilities. Well, we definitely know two of our abilities. One is the Chord Claw, chaining around like a little tiger, and the other one is a sniper with smart link aiming for headshots. And then we have finally something to do with electrical storm around it, probably overload, yada yada. Then we also have some information about our servo skulls, what they can do. So we know that up here, Medicae saves. That's got to be something to do with our servo skull. Medicae, to me, saves, to me, says that this is exactly what I was thinking. You can't use the servo skull to heal your allies, but you can use it to pick them off the ground, right? So you can use it to rescue them from a distance, much like the veteran can now do, but it doesn't heal their wound states, is what I would guess, because that is very, very strong. Unless of course, it is a Grail Knight, or not a Grail Knight, a Salt Spires style, what's his Warrior Priest mechanic, where you can undo the damage that has been done in the last 3 seconds if you hit them in a timely manner. That is a very, very powerful ability in Vermintide, so I don't know if they would include it in Darktide. But yeah, Medicae saves definitely being able to pick enemies or allies up off the ground. Sometimes they're enemies. Then we've got Cryptic Hacking Solves. So this means that, to me, there's, of course, the drone can hack these things. They've confirmed that. So you can hack terminals and stuff with the drone. That means that we've got at least probably the servo skull is going to be devoted to hacking. Maybe it's one of the archetypes. Maybe there's 3 blitz abilities for the servo skull, right? I'm thinking maybe one of them is combat. maybe one of them is medical or support, and one of them is a hacker. So we've got flamethrower kills here as well. So maybe we've got a combat archetype with this one, which you use flamethrower, it can use the bolter, whatever else there was. We've got the healer or support archetype with the Medicae, and we've got the hacking archetype. And the reason I think this might be the case is because we have a couple more penances down here. We've got one called Weapon Malfunction on Elite Ranged. Okay, so out of these three, right, which of these three here, Medicae drone, hacking drone, or flamethrower drone, seems like it would be the most useful in any given game? Probably either Medicae or flamethrower. The one that's definitively hands down the least useful is the hacking one. You barely need to hack. There's some missions you don't even need to hack. So what use is it if you choose a hacking drone and it literally can't do anything the whole game? Well, guess what? It can hack enemies. It can hack enemies' guns and jam them so they can't shoot for a certain amount of time. So it goes overhead and does its little technological magic, and bada bing, bada boom, they can't shoot for X amount of time. They're jammed, and you can make the approach. That is what the hacking drone is going to be able to do right here. And then we have the this down here, force field range attacks projection. Now, I think that Yobi had a different take on this, that he thought it would be to do with the Vanguard ability. I think this is going to be to do with the drone, because they have said that the drone can be sent to defend an ally. I think the drone can be sent to basically like put a force field around an individual ally and protect them from range attacks for a certain amount of time. So I think that this is going to be a drone thing as well. The drone can go out and bubble one ally and absorb attacks for X amount of seconds, and then it comes back to you. It probably uses battery or your charges or whatever. So that is really cool if this is like something to do with the Medicae saves. Because again, if you got a team where no one's going down, if you're good at the game, the Medicae drone is useless, right? It doesn't do anything the entire game. It doesn't need to pick anybody up because nobody goes down. A great way to give it some use outside of that is to give it a bubble, give it a preemptive damage protection, much like Shout, right? You take Shout, it gives you shields, but also it can pick you up if someone's down. And then we've got flamethrower kills, which obviously stands on its own because killing stuff is good. It's the name of the game. So there you go. I think that's everything here as far as like interesting stuff that I wanted to pull from this. If you want more deep dive on where you think stuff is in the talent tree, you can go watch Yobi's video. I'll put it back up on screen again right here. Go watch his video. Good video, got some good thoughts in there, and then watch our video together that we're gonna make. Hopefully I'll record it with him tonight, and we'll get a look at this, and we'll talk about where we think stuff is in the tree and what we actually think these abilities are going to end up being, because there's lots of really cool stuff. He goes through a whole process of like talking about where he thinks that these different abilities are and what they are in the tree, and it's pretty well thought out. So yeah, go check it out, and I think that's everything I have to share with you guys today. Look out for another new player guide later tonight, and I've got some fail analysis coming, so there is that. All right, guys, have a good one.
Fork! 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 Fork!